Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode number 5 of Healing with Seb. Today's episode is going to touch upon the topic of happiness. Let's get into it, shall we? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Seb Dinsmore. Welcome back to Healing with Seb. So, as mentioned in the cold open, today's episode is about happiness. Do we deserve happiness? Let's talk about it. So, let me ask you something. How do you want to feel? Emotional beings that we are, we're going to do it anyway. We're going to be emotional anyway. We're going to feel something anyway. So how do you want to feel? Let's do this logically. Don't we have the power to ask ourselves, how do I want to feel? So don't we have a choice in about how we're going to control that? Even just a little bit? Don't we have a choice of being happy? And we're going to talk about it a little bit today, but your happiness comes down to how well you're able to control your emotions. So, welcome back. Happiness is within us as an emotion, a feeling. So, talking about happiness today, doesn't it all come under the same thing? We could feel different emotions: sad, scared, really vulnerable, happy, overjoyed, ecstatic. We have all of these different emotions within us. Can we not control, to some degree, what we want to feel like? What we want to be today? Because I know I want to be happy. But can we do that? Can we tell ourselves, right, I'm going to be happy today. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be huddled in a corner of my room crying my eyes out. I don't want to be angry at the world. I don't want to blah blah blah. Do we not have the ability to choose how we want to feel today? How we want to move on in our lives today? Do we not get that choice? It's this question, how do I want to feel, is so... it's easier said than done. Now, you know these podcasts are unedited. So, that's why I say so a lot. And that's why there's lots of erms and so it's all raw. But this question, how do I want to feel? You can pose that. Now, whether you want to do it on a large scale or small scale, you can start off small and make it easier for yourself. How do I want to feel this weekend? How do I want to feel on Monday? How do I want to feel on Thursday? You can make it smaller and then big it up. Let's say this weekend it's your 2 days off from work. How do I want to feel this weekend? I want to feel rested. I want to feel happy. I want to do something that's not sitting down all day because I've had such a hard week at work on your feet that you want to rest all the time. The weekend, you can get up and go visit somewhere. You can go do something. You can go watch a show, go see a movie, go out to the pub with your pals. You can do so much in such a short space of time. Let's think about life as a whole. 80, 86 years, 90 years, if you're lucky. My grandparents passed away in their 80s, early 80s, so around 83. Could you imagine being 80 right now? It's such a short amount of time if you think about it. I'm 23, lads. I'm 20 fucking 3. And that has gone by like that. I don't know how I could do this longer than 100 years. Could you imagine? This full life is hard, but it's so short and it goes by so fast as well. So what's the number one reason we get out of bed in the morning? We want to be happy. I know I do. We want to wake up with that smile on our face. What am I going to do today? Or if you've got work, let's say, then okay, I'm going to go to work. Or I'm going to go to the gym. Or I'm going to go see some friends. You know what you've got to do. But you wake up with a certain mood. Oh no, not work again. Oh, I don't want to go and see blah blah. I don't want to sit opposite them. I don't want to sit next to this guy. I don't want to have that meeting with the boss. Life is fleeting. So you want to wake up happy, don't you? But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doing this podcast isn't easy because this isn't scripted, guys. This isn't scripted at all. I am just rambling on for 10 minutes, sometimes 11. And if I ever get a guest on, that'll be 20 minutes. Yeah, look forward to those long-ass podcasts. But do you get what I mean? It's not the easiest thing in the world just saying, I'm going to be happy. You've got to work at it. So that brings me to the point now of, do we need permission to be happy? Because nobody ever, nowadays, nobody ever wakes up just saying, I'm going to be happy. That's your plan, that's your goal. But do you ever wake up just saying, right, I'm going to be happy today? I don't. I try, but I don't. So what I'm saying now is, do we need permission to be happy? Of course we do. From you. From yourself. Only you can help yourself become happy. You've got friends to help you along the way, but they ultimately don't tell you, you can be happy today, lad. That's the thing. You're not going to get permission from anybody or anything else. You are the only person who can give yourself that permission to be happy. You're not going to get it from anything else. The world already gave it to you when you were a baby. Right? You were born happy. Yeah, you cried a wee bit. You did. You cried like a bastard. But you also laughed a lot as well. One of the most infectious sounds I've ever heard is a baby laughing. Listen to this. Okay, so if that didn't make you giggle, there's something wrong with you. Deep. And and if you didn't laugh, DM me. Fucking find me on social media, at Seb Dinsmore, at Bash Dinsmore. Give me a message, I'll help you out. And that's just saying I'll message back, I'll be nice. I'm not going to actually sort your life problems for you, but I will listen to you. Now, we're already at 9.5 minutes, so I think this is going to go over a little bit, but that's okay. Because sometimes we need to talk about these issues. But that's what I mean. You were born happy. As a baby, you were given happiness from the world. But then you lose it along the way because you're just lost in the world. You're lost in the world trying to find your way, and you just get lost trying to make your way in the world. I said world way too many times. But let me tell you something, you do not need permission to live your life and to be happy on your terms. So you can choose right now when to be happy. You could be happy right now, right this second, listening to this podcast. You could choose when you want to be happy. So why not start now? We're getting that happy music in the background as well. Happy house music, not normally my type of music, but good for the podcast. You can say when you want to be happy. You can decide. Why not tell yourself you want to be happy right now? And you're right, it's not as easy as I'm making it out to be. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to be happy today. No, that's not how it works. But you can give it a goddamn go. You can work hard at it, because it is a lot of effort. Look at the music, I love that. But it is a lot of the work. You are right. There is so much that needs to go into your mental and physical state to make yourself happy sometimes. Whether it's losing weight, or whether it's, going to the gym, or whether it's going out with your pals. There's a lot of things that factor into happiness. Whether that's temporary happiness because you're out with your pals and then you get home and you're like, well, I'm alone now. This is shit. So, you could decide to be happy right after this show ends, this episode, and you can say, I'm going to be happy in that moment. And nobody can get in your way, nobody can get in your face and stop you from being happy in that second. Because I know some of you right now, some of you aren't, some of you are happy and you're fine. This doesn't apply to you. But the people I know who aren't happy right now, you need to hear this. And be ready. Don't take this the wrong way. Because I'm just being real. Not negative. Just being real. Most people don't care about you. Okay, let me say it nicer. Most people aren't thinking about you. That's better, right? They're not thinking about you. Because they're not. They've got their own lives to worry about, their own families, their own friends, their own issues, their own problems at work. They're not thinking or worrying about you. It's a bit better than saying they don't care. But they kind of don't care. Just being real. Because people are busy worrying about themselves, worrying about their own issues. They're too busy worrying about whether they can be happy themselves. They're not thinking about you. They've got too much going on. Now, I'm one of the people who always care about others first. I always put other people before me, but that's not the way to go, ladies and gents. Yes, I'm not saying be a dickhead. Go and look after your fellow man or woman. But put yourself first for once. Care about you and only you in that moment. Be happy. Because otherwise you're like this, listening to this sad podcast about healing. And maybe you are happy. Maybe you just want to know what the secret is to get better at being happy. Healing your inner child. We'll talk about your inner child next week. No, we won't. We'll talk about inner child in a fortnight. Next week is about hate. We're doing the opposite. So if those people aren't thinking about you, then why would you think that those people need to give you permission to be happy? Food for thought. And let me be real. I've never met a person, when pressed, that they wouldn't tell me what made them happy in that moment. Maybe they'd lie about it, maybe they'd hide it, maybe they'd argue about it, or deny it. They already knew what made them happy. They just had to get the gunk away from whatever is covering that up. But let me tell you, they already knew what made them happy. So go do that. Go do what makes you happy. And maybe your issue is that you already know what makes you happy, you're just not executing it every single day. So start today. Make yourself happy. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been your host, Seb Dinsmore. I'm going to leave you there. Next week, we'll be talking about hate. The reverse of happiness. As always, ladies and gents, if you need someone to talk to, my social media is always open. Find me on Facebook as Seb Dinsmore, or Snapchat as Seb Dinsmore, or Instagram at Bash Dinsmore, which is my acting page, but I'm mainly on that, and then my private, which is at Seb Dinsmore. But I check that a little bit less than the main page. Yeah. And you can DM me on there no matter what. Find me on Twitter at Bash Dinsmore. We love a good bit of Twitter. Anyway. I'm going to leave it there. This episode was brought to you by host Seb Dinsmore and producer Angus McCoy.